Okay, yeah, the lights are a little bit bright. So I actually had two good intentions that happened the same day, and they're related. And since it was good intentions, I think I can cover both of these in one story here. The setting is, I was coming up on a significant year change. Actually, I was going to be turning 30 years old, similar to the first story, but turning 30 instead of 50. And I was recently married. Before kids, that BC time when, you look back later on and said, wow, that went by quick. So I was home. It was a Saturday afternoon. I think my wife, Debbie, she was out at work or shopping or something. I was home by myself, Saturday afternoon, and I was thinking about turning 30 in a couple months, and I wasn't really too bummed out about it. I'd been working out a little bit and trying to eat right, all that good stuff, and I just bought this juicer. And if you remember back in the day, the juicer was a hot item on the infomercial channel and all these other things. So we bought this juicer, and I had made a couple concoctions, carrot juice and weird stuff like that. And I bought this book called The Juice Man. And if you ever remember, there was this guy, his name was Ray Cordich. He had this wild gray hair, and he had these eyebrows that you could almost braid them. And he got on, he sold these juicers, and he was, like 60 years old. He was really healthy looking, and his wife was like a former model that was 30 years younger and 3 lovely children. I thought, wow, this is, let me check this guy out. So I'm going through the book and I'm thinking, what could I find in here that would be a good recipe? And I find this antioxidant recipe. Clean you out, great idea, for anybody, do it like once a week. And I thought, that's great, my good intention, I'm going to come up with this magical elixir that I can use over and over again to clean my system out, keep me healthy, keep working out before I hit the ripe age of 30. So, key ingredient of this antioxidant was garlic. And we had garlic in the refrigerator. My wife was out, as I said. I was all alone in the kitchen. And we had all the other ingredients, which I got together pretty quickly. And I pulled the garlic out, and it says you need 3 cloves of garlic. So I had these 3 hunks of garlic, and I thought, I don't know what a clove of garlic is. I kind of had heard of it, what cloves are. So I throw them in there, and I mix it up, and the juicer's really working here. And it's going and going, and I get a glass out, and it said you needed an 8-ounce glass. So I pour it into the glass. You need to drink this 8 ounces of the magical elixir. So I remember I was standing in front of, we had a small kitchen right in front of the oven there, and I had the glass, and I said, okay, here we go. So I begin to drink it. I drink about half of it, and I think, God, this is horrible. But you know what? No pain, no gain. I just got to chug it all down, get it over with quick, and I chugged down the second half. Okay? All of a sudden, I have my world turned upside down. My first image is of the 3 Stooges sitting in a bar with steam coming out of Curly's ears. My next image is my stomach doing tumble-salts and flip-flops. My legs are beginning to cave. I'm just completely out of it, and I realize I've done something really wrong at this point. I proceed to walk over towards the bathroom. I can't even make it to the bathroom. My whole body is shut down, and I'm sitting on the steps. And all of a sudden, my wife walks in from the door, and she looks at me, and she says, what the hell's wrong with you, and what are you doing sitting on the steps? So I proceed to tell her the short version of the story, and I learn a very painful cooking recipe lesson that a clove of garlic is part of a bulb, and there's generally 8 to 10 cloves in a bulb, and I had just put in 3 bulbs of garlic. So I had essentially 25 to 30 cloves of garlic in me, and they weren't coming out. Okay? So part 2 comes in. My wife kindly reminds me that we're going to a beef and beer fundraiser in Drexel Hill. And I better get my act together because we're leaving pretty soon. We already bought the tickets. I grew up in Delaware County. I've got 55 first cousins that I hardly ever get to see. We live in Downingtown. So I take 2 showers, deodorant, cologne. Deodorant helped a little bit. Brush, gargle, floss, brush, gargle. Everything I'm trying to do, whatever tomato juice, trying to, little to no impact. I say, we're going anyway. So we're driving down Worcester Pike, and I had a bigger car at the time. My wife is, not too happy with me at this point. We get lost. We're going down somewhere in Drexel Hill off of Manoa Road or something like that. We get lost. And now we begin to yell because I've made the wrong turn and we're lost. And all of a sudden I look over at my wife, has her right cheek on the window of the passenger's window. She's like, "You've got to stop talking. I cannot take it anymore." She is in basically a garlic terrarium at this point, and she cannot get out, and we're lost. I had this old bag phone, and I'm trying to call somebody to say, "Can you tell me where to get to this place?" And at this point, we couldn't turn back. So we finally make it to the church. It was in the basement of a church. We pull up. We've come this far. I say, "You know what? It's going to be dark. It's going to be loud. Maybe I can just lay low in the corner and, just kind of get through it." I also heard that, you don't want to drink a lot when you have bad breath because it makes it worse. So I got the gum. I'm ready to go. Well, at a Irish beef and beer with 55 first cousins, and as long as you remember Jimmy, Johnny, Joey, Bobby, you've got half of the boys, or if not their brother, and everyone's happy to see you. So, of course, start drinking beer. I'm talking to people. I notice that they are stepping back as I'm talking. And I'm trying not to get too animated while I'm talking to people and try not to say too much. And at one point, I specifically remember someone saying, "Did you guys go out to Italian for dinner tonight?" The night progresses. It's fortunately getting darker and louder. And my cousin, Father Ed, generally when you have that many cousins, back then, one of them was a priest, a wise man comes up and he says, "Are you okay, Chris? You don't look too good." And I said, "Here's what happened." He goes, "Oh, okay, I see what's going on here." And I think the word kind of got out. And my wife and I decided to make a quick exit. And we got out of there. And the good intentions were the magical elixir and getting to see some family and friends, of which I did. However, a lot of those people didn't really want to see me for a long time. And I didn't touch garlic for at least the next year. And that's my story.